Peace be with you everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor, really grateful to have you here. And today's video I'm just going to be doing a recap of my entire spring 2023 and picking out 10 of my favorite wears for this past spring season. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the list in no particular order, just going ahead and getting right into it here. We've got Missoni Parfum pour Homme. So for me, this is kind of like shower gel aged in oak barrels. There's a unique oak wood note in here that kind of makes this distinct from Bleu de Chanel, which is the fragrance that this is inspired by or cloning. But I think that this is more of a hybrid of Bleu de Chanel and Platinum Egoiste, as this has a really nice soapy dry down. So I think it is a little bit more wearable in the spring season than, say, Bleu de Chanel, which I find is more suitable for hotter climates like in the summer, because the soapy factor in here makes it a little bit more clean and, how should I say it, dense or thick and appropriate for that kind of spring weather. So like I said, shower gel aged in oak barrels, a little bit of a soapy Bleu de Chanel. That's what you get here. Really versatile, and also one of the fragrances that I did get a compliment just this past spring season. So that's Missoni Parfum pour Homme, a really nice cheapie. Next up on the list is perhaps a no-brainer pick for the spring season. That is Creed's Green Irish Tweed. So this is a fragrance that has been around since the 80s. This is the newer formulation. I haven't smelled the vintage bottles with the 125 ml broad-shouldered batches, but I find that this one in its current formulation is a great wear for me. I still get around 5 to 6 hours with this, which is about moderate for me and something that I'm happy to wear. It gets me through a good majority of my day. Beautiful, fresh, vibrant, green rolling hills, a really nice watery vibe going on from this violet leaf in here that gives it a dewy spring green grassy feel, with this slightly minty cold briskness over the top from a lemon verbena note, and a slight powdery touch across some soapy vibes from an iris. Incredible offering from the house of Creed, and like I said, perhaps a no-brainer in the spring season. This is probably my favorite. If I had to pick or keep only one from this top 10 list here, this would probably be it, and that's Green Irish Tweed from Creed. Okay, so next up on the list is a barbershop style fragrance, which is my favorite genre of fragrance, and that is Lalique L'Insoumis. So this is kind of like a basil mojito barbershop, is really what sums this fragrance up really well. It has a bit of a shaving cream vibe to it, a slightly sour touch from the basil in here, and then a sweetness from a rum note. So you just get this really nice, kind of light and airy shaving cream. It's not that thick or dense or creamy as, say, maybe even a Chanel's Platinum Egoiste with its sandalwood. This is a really nice, very versatile fragrance. I think you could wear this year round. It's got a really nice kind of fun party drink vibe to it, and a slight coconut sugar aspect as well. That would be great for summer nights, but otherwise it's got a really nice green aspect to it that works great in spring and fall from the basil, and I think a clary sage note in here as well, and the lavender obviously giving it the majority of its shaving cream vibe. Incredible stuff. You can see from the juice level how much I enjoy this, and you can find testers of this for under $30 sometimes. Really beautiful Lalique L'Insoumis, another pick for my top spring 2023. Okay, next we have a fragrance that I would have considered a fall fragrance. At least that's how the note composition presents itself, as well as kind of where it's voted more towards in the databases online. However, I was watching, I believe, Super Jacob go over some of his top picks for the months of April and May, as well as Max Forte mentioned this fragrance in his top spring picks, and I decided to wear it some points in this past spring season, namely April and May, and I thought this was a beautiful, beautiful, nice floral, sweet fragrance that I could wear on a little bit cooler days, but still get that floral touch that I'm looking for in the spring season, and that is Dior Homme Original. Obviously, this is a iconic fragrance, and I have never smelled vintage bottles with the silver stem, but this original formulation I hear smells a lot like those early, I think 2011 or 2014 renditions of this fragrance. But otherwise, you get a really nice kind of cacao, chocolate powder iris, and just more like a chocolate flower pollen is a good kind of way to wrap your head around this if you've never smelled it. It just has this powdery chocolate in the air. Maybe if somebody was like blowing you a kiss full of Nestle Nesquik quick powder in your face with a little bit of a floral touch on top of that. Very elegant, professional, clean smelling. The iris in this has a little bit of a soapy cleanliness to it. Cannot recommend this enough, and I think this is a great wear in the spring season, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of it this past spring. Okay, next up we have the newest addition to my collection out of this list, so I haven't had that much time to wear it, but I have fallen quite in love with it. It gives me some of the best of what I'm looking for in some spring fragrances. It reminds me a little bit of John Varvatos Artisan Pure. It reminds me a little bit of Banana Republic's Vintage Green. And it reminds me a little bit of Mont Blanc Star Walker, as well as Versace Mano Fresh. And the Mano Fresh comparison is apt because it's from the same house, and that is Versace's Versense. So this is actually a women's marketed fragrance from the house of Versace, but it kind of takes that Versace Mano Fresh, Mont Blanc Star Walker DNA and adds a little bit of greenery to it that is sharing some similitude to Vintage Green, as well as the bright sort of citrus sparkly quality that you get from Vintage Green and Artisan Pure, as well as a unique floral touch, which is where the marketing towards women, I would imagine, comes from. But that combination of green aspect as well as the additional florals in here come together to really make this something special and a great spring offering. It just is a very nice warm weather spring fragrance, and like I said, the florals and the green aspects in here take that fresh Mano Fresh Star Walker DNA out of being a more summertime high heat fragrance and puts it into something that's really elegant for this sort of spring day that I've got going on with the nice green birds chirping. Okay, next we have a niche fragrance, I believe an indie perfume house. They started on Etsy, if I have that correctly, but this is Rogue Perfumery's Mousse Illuminee, which translates to illuminated moss. And this fragrance right here it's got a little bit of a scratchy oak moss, but it's not off-putting. The texture just is balanced out. That scratchy oak moss, which is just very green and plant and vegetal, if you've never smelled oak moss, so you just kind of get that outdoorsy kind of rugged texture. And then it's balanced out with some really nice creamy aspects in here, I believe, coming from some white florals. And then the overall composition just kind of gives you this sparkly lemon lime soda with a very outdoorsy feel. Slight shaving foam vibe going on as well in this one. Really beautiful stuff. A little bit of a retro throwback style to it, but I wouldn't say it smells dated or old school. And it again is one of the few fragrances in this list that I actually had gotten a compliment on this past spring season. And yeah, illuminated moss or Mousse Illuminee sells itself through the name very well. Also, it just has a very bright, like I said, fizzy lemon lime soda happiness or a optimism about it over the top of that green mossy outdoorsy feel. Beautiful stuff. One of my favorites for the springtime. Compliment getter and very unique. So that's Mousse Illuminee from Rogue Perfumery. Okay, moving on to another indie house, fragrance I've spoken about quite a bit on the channel so far. Got a really good dent in here, as you can see. This is Chypre from Therapia by Aroma. Shout out to Joel the Nose who put me on to this fragrance house. It is a indie perfume house in the USA, located in Miami. I don't know if they ship worldwide. Let me know in the comment section if you've ordered from them and had them shipped out of the US, but they do have free shipping on these 100 ml bottles are $25. So amazing artisanal niche perfumery at cheapy prices. Incredible stuff, and this one is no different. I've described this as somewhat of a Reflection Man Eau Fraiche, if you're familiar with that fragrance from Amouage. Another way you could kind of wrap your head around this fragrance, though, is that it is like fresh linens and patchouli. So you just get that fresh laundry kind of vibe, like a little bit of like a warm, fresh laundry. But then it also has this really earthy but also chocolatey style patchouli sweetness going on in here. A really beautiful, beautiful fragrance. That's Chypre from Therapia by Aroma. Let's go with this one. This is my scent of the day today, and that is Infusion d'Iris Cedre from Prada. This is somewhat of a, it's cold, so it's a very brisk and kind of cold feeling fragrance, and then it just has a very hotel soap cleanliness to it. And then in the deep dry down, you get a very nice, high quality cedar. It reminds me a little bit of the kind of cedar that you get in Creed's Royal Oud, but you don't get that until much later on in the progression of the fragrance. Otherwise, you just get that really nice, clean, signature Prada soapy feel with a little bit of a cold kind of touch, but really much more like an aura than a fragrance. It just completes this sensation of cleanliness, is the best way that I could describe this fragrance. Very beautiful stuff from the house of Prada, and wears a little bit more easy and a little bit more light and breathable than Prada L'Homme, in my opinion, which can be a little bit stuffy and overbearingly sweet. For me, at least at times, with the amber and iris combo going on. But this one is very light and airy, and just makes me feel a little bit more clean than regular Prada L'Homme. That's Prada Infusion d'Iris Cedre. And next we have a clone of Creed's Silver Mountain Water. That is Armaf Club de Nuit Sillage. So I have worn Silver Mountain Water quite a bit this past spring. It was my scent of the day this past Friday. But I find that this one just has a little bit more, at least compared to newer batches of Silver Mountain Water, this one has a little bit more projection, and people can smell this one a little bit more on me, and it's got a little bit more of a juicy quality to it from a really nice bergamot top, whereas the Silver Mountain Water is a little bit less juicy but more fruity and melony. They have certain nuances that I prefer about the two of them. This one, though, also has a little bit more of a lean into a floral component, which I love and think is really good for the springtime. So yeah, otherwise, if you haven't smelled this or Silver Mountain Water, it's like a fresh mountain stream with a little bit of a metallic touch to it. So that's Armaf Club de Nuit Sillage. And finally, the last fragrance on this list, a personal favorite of mine, and another one that I would be closely matched with Green Irish Tweed if I were to give up all but one, and that is Fougere Emeraude from the house of Les Indemodables, I believe, which translates to the Timeless Ones. And this is quite a timeless, unique, high quality fragrance. Niche perfumery, very expensive fragrance. All these from the line, they're 50 mLs for like $250. That's full retail, but I don't think these ones really hit the discounters, which is why they're rather expensive. I got this from Lucky Scent, I believe. So very high price, but also you get what you get what you pay for. Like they deliver on the high price. And this is kind of like a iron fist in a velvet glove style fragrance, because it opens up with what smells like falling into a bed of flower petals that just has this slightly fleshy but also silky, powdery, dewy feeling that you get off of raw flower petals. And so you fall into that sensation of a very clean, flowery, plant like fleshy powderiness. Opens up with a huge tuberose, and that's what accounts for all of that kind of imagery off the top. But then it dries down into a masculine lavender barbershop style fragrance. Hence Fougere Emeraude, which I think is like Emerald Fougere. Really, really beautiful floral Fougere fragrance. Nice barbershop quality going down into the dry down. A little bit shaving foamy, a little bit more barber-sally, but very dandy. Definitely a dandy style barbershop fragrance, but excellent stuff here for the spring season with that added floral component. Let me know how your spring 2023 went. Let me know what you're looking forward to wearing in the high heat summer season, and if you're in the other side of the globe in Australia, let me know what you've been wearing moving into winter here. So I appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.